Using it. So we are still on launching attack. And let me just take us back a little to where this was the last slide we discussed in our last class. I think we stopped at telnet and we discussed or we define telnet as a technology that helps us to scan over what ports on the network. I think we started from the technology that replace the telnet, right? Which is this Wireshark. And I pointed out the limitation of the one we used to have, which is SSH, before the introduction of the telnet. And the telnet, before we look at the telnet, we first of all ran this code, which I said this will display capture from what? That is what? To capture machines on a network. That is the role of this. But before then, you have to install, after this, we wanted to start looking at telnet, where I said we have to install it first by running sudo apt install telnet. After installing it, then this is where we are now executing the telnet. So I think this is where we're executing it, and this was the targeted machine, and this is the port in that very machine we are targeting. Okay, now let us quickly look at that again, just to key us in the continuation of this class. So I assume that I've already installed my telnet. So what we simply did is to type the telnet, the targeted machine. Remember, I told us that should represent our metasploitable machine, right? And you must have known your metasploitable. You must have known your metasploitable IP address, as we have established under reconnaissance that only one. Actually explaining is that while implementing all these scripts, you have to know your target machine IP address. And your target machine IP address is your metasploitable or OAPs, right? Any of them can serve as your target machine. So in my own case, I have already obtained the IP address of my metasploitable. So while in my Kali, I want to access a port, an FTP port in the target machine. So that means that you are already what? Breaking into another machine now from your using the telnet. So I will type the target machine IP address, which is 192.168.55. So you should know your own target machine IP address, and the 102. Then space and specify the particular ports you are targeting in that machine. So this is just like from your Kali machine, you are breaking into metasploitable and accessing the ports in that machine. So if I run it, so you can see that automatically it has invoked what? Metasploitable, right? Now, metasploitable has a password, okay? So before I can access it, I need to impute. So this is an evidence that you are actually trying to break into what? A machine called metasploitable 2. So all I need to do that, remember that this is a global vulnerable machine for us to practice penetration testing. So I'll use the global password provided, which is ms what fadmin, and then it's asking me to repeat that's the first one was the username ms fadmin. So directly, so we are in that machine, as you can see, contacts. So you see it, login with what? This, the metasploitable login detail, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Okay, so we are in. We have been able to access it. So if I run ifconfig here now to know if I will get that information, despite that I am not there. You can see that I've been able to what? So this is just like I am already in metasploitable from what? Kali. Because remember that before you could run this ifconfig, we have to launch what? Metasploitable. But this time around, that is not the case. You are already in. Did you understand it? Good. So now that was how we ended the class. And then in this session, we start from searching for and understanding exploits. Searching for and understanding exploits. So the next step in launching an attack is to find an exploit to use for the attack. So typically, you will be using public exploit to compromise target system. You'll be using public exploit to compromise target system, and you will not be creating your own. You will not be creating your own. That's creating exploits is an advanced level skill and not in the scope of this training. Now, that is what we'll be using what is available, the machines that are available. Now, in the course of the training, when we were still under networking fundamental, we talk about exploits. What can we refer to as what? Exploits. Exploits is that machine that you are what? You are taking advantage. The one you are, assessing. You can search for exploits in a variety of ways. In other words, there are different ways some of these things can be done. It might not be the way I am teaching us now. You might end up discovering another ways of getting some of these things done. So which will be I'll be going over. So let's see. Let's look at one of them is what? Exploit DB. So we're going to look at exploit DB. Exploit DB. There, what is what? That is database now. That is database. Exploit DB. There exists a website. So there's a website called what? Exploit what? DB. Like I said, we are going to be, assessing or exploiting public information. So there's a website called Exploit DB where thousands of public exploits are published and available for download. So that is the first option we want to. In other words, we are launching an attack, but this attack is on a public domain. So we are taking advantage of a website where we know globally that people dump or upload things there. So you want to exploit them in order to get some information you need to launch an attack. Are you still writing? So remember, I hope you understand what is an exploit is a piece of code a technique or method that takes advantage of vulnerability. So let's get that right. So in other words, what you are looking for now, you are looking for what? Pieces of what? Code, right? That you can use in taking advantage of loopholes in a network. So like I mentioned here, you can visit this website and search for what? Download what? Exploits. Extremely easily with the provided search function. You can search things like Windows 7 or Firefox to find exploits that are related to those search word terms. So you must have known the targeted word domain where you want to get the information from as an ethical hacker. So the URL is this. So let's write this address. Hope you have written it down because it's going to take us there. So let me write it /exploits -db db.com. Okay, so now let's go to our browser. So this is the interface we are talking about. So which means that from your Kali machine, we are going to file or just click on the Kali word icon and then navigate to web browser and then target that website. So I hope the internet should be strong because most time if there's network issue, you may not be able to access it. Okay, let me start a new section. The website is a popular website. I believe it should be here. You can see it now, because these are popular domain ethical hacker visit. Most of them, they are already what added as shortcuts. Yes, so you can just click on it. And then sometimes the server can be done, but let me see if to open the same thing you are getting, right? Can we use Firefox? Yes, you can use Firefox. So what you will do now is that if it's not working here, you switch to your normal Firefox. Let's see whether we'll get this. Choose to just switch to, not here, your normal other window Firefox. Let's see if the network setting of our card is the reason why it's not opening, just to verify. So if you don't Kali browser, you can switch to just for us to practice how to use it. In Kali. Okay, use Firefox. Let me see if I can, because I would prefer it opening with that same Kali. Which of the Firefox do you use? Look up. Is it this one? Is it this one? Which one? Firefox 2. We have Firefox. Is it from here? From here, right? From the menu here. Why? Okay, let me see, check my normal, just for me to have the environment for my explanation. So HTTP, HTTPS, exploits, hyphen db db.com. Might be that our browser is a bit outdated. Okay, so now let's just use this to complete the explanation. So this is the website where so many information are uploaded by different users that you can download as exploit. And let me go back to the slide. Now, the next thing is for you to search for one of the exploits. So this is a known exploit. You search for this, which is search for VSFT is one of the exploits. VSFTPD. VSFTPD. Have you written it? I want to switch to mine. So you search for it here. VSFTPD. Then you see that as soon as you type it, then you can see that it has brought out what list of different exploits related to the key search word. So whichever domain, in as much you have an idea of the domain, you want to take advantage of its vulnerability. So now you can see the download button here, but just to align with the one I've confirmed, this is the one we are downloading. This very one, we are clicking on this. So I believe you have this option. Unis Metasploit. Do you have it there? Do you have Uni Metasploit? So I think Unis Metasploit. Okay, this is my own here. Yes, backdoor what? Command. So you click on it. Once you click on it, then it will give you access to download. So you click on this option. So this is the exploit. Yes. Yes, you click on it. Click on the download option. Let's just follow it to the end to see how. So it's downloaded. So it's downloaded. Now, you that work from. So I have downloaded that exploit. So let me wait for you guys to confirm your own.
So this is where we are now. This is the one we just downloaded now. Okay, you have questions?
This exploit that we are doing, is it used for only background docs or can we for normal real-time?
Possible. There are some phones that are more powerful than some computers.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at how to copy the exploit. Copying the exploit from the search exploits. That is the next step now. Now we were able to search for the exploit. Now we want to look at how do we copy it. How do we copy it? So the list of exploits returned from search plot will have names, a file path, and a file name associated with them. So each time you download this exploit, always know that there will be a name, a file path, and the name and a file name associated with them. The file names are always going to be a number followed by a file extension, which tells you what kind of file it is. If you see an exploit that you want to check out, like 53423.py, that .py means what? Is a Python what? File, right? For example, use the following command to copy it from your current directory. So those of us that were not able to download it inside our Kali now, it will not be a bit difficult for us to take it from. But ordinarily, we are supposed to run this particular file code to copy it into your current directory. That's if you are working on desktop. You know, when you download, just like your normal window, download always go to default download folder, right? So if download folder is not the best location where you would like to use it, for you to bring it to where you want it, you have to use this code, which is a search exploit space M. Then, like I said, the file name will always be number .py. So once we are done writing, we'll go to Kali and go and so this is where. So we are going to run this line of code. We're going to run search what? Exploits. Remember that this is the file you are searching for. It's a command used with search exploits to search for known exploit related to what? This file name, which means what? Very what? Secure file transfer protocol daemon. A popular FTP what? Server for Unix system. So we are going to run this code. This is what it should write. This is the code. So let's write it. Then we'll go back to our Kali to go and run it. Good writing. You're not writing all this also. It's just. Okay, so let's go back to our Kali and run this. So now remember that you are okay. Let me run it. Search exploit. VS FT ED. Now let's do sudo -i. Sorry, I need to go back from here because I know that we are already in a. Remember that we are moved from Kali, right? We are moved from Kali to.
Well, where I want this to be
In Kali, yes, in Kali. Search. Search. Exploit. V. All right. Who else has confirmed his own? So this is the outcome, just like we have it there. Now, we are going to copy it into a directory. That particular, we are going to copy one of the results into the directory. For example, now if you go back to this, you know, these are the file name, and these are the extension. So this is the one we want to take. Sorry, this one, the have ROB units, backdoor. Remember that was the one we exploited the other time. That one we downloaded through the browser. So through the browser, you were able to get the same thing that you are not getting through these scripts. So that browser was just like an external way of getting it through that what exploit DB. So now, if you want to copy this very one, we are going to use this code, because we have to copy it and save it somewhere, because we will call it out later. So, like I said, to copy it into your directory, run search exploit, the space M, the name of that file. Let me check if it's the same with the one I have here. If it's the same, this is the one I want to take now. This one. That is what? 17491.91.rob. So let me check again. Good, it's the same. Okay, so now let me go to my Kali and run that code to copy it. So I'll just say search plot space -move so successfully verified through URL from that same website. At least we have collected it from the website, and this is the file name. All right, so now we have executed that. So the next step is to check if it has been added to your directory. So that is another thing we need to check, whether we have successfully copied that particular file that we downloaded from that database. And to check that, of course, we just run what? ls, right? That is how we check directory from our basic Linux. So you can just press Ctrl+C to stop a command if it's still running and you cannot see your command prompt. So to check, like I said, just run what? ls. So you can see that what is there. You can see that it has outputted what? The name. Just to tell you that what? The file is in your directory. But if you are not seeing other desktop listed like my own here, that means you are working on your user account, not the root.
Yeah.
If you are working under user account, that's where you see all those desktop, whatever. Okay, so the next so now we want to understanding the exploits. Now we have successfully downloaded what? The exploit, and we have saved it in what? In directory, right? So we can always access it later. Then now we want to look at how to understand it. Those code, how do we really interpret them? Understanding the exploits. Understanding the exploits. Let me wait for the slide to open up. Okay, so it has opened here. So now that you have your exploits, you want to make sure that you now that you have your exploits, you want to make sure that you understand what it is doing and that it is set up correctly. So this is not only to ensure that it will work, but to also ensure that you will not cause any harm or damage to the system that you will be attacking. There have been many cases when exploits contain malicious code that will either affect or destroy computers. Because all these exploits, remember, you are just deriving them from what? A database. You don't even know whether they are also meant to even hack your system. So that's why it's important we understand. So let's look at what? Dissecting exploits. Dissecting exploits. To better understand exploits, you will need to open them up in a text editor. You will need to open them up in a text editor and see exactly what the code is doing. You may need to edit the shell code. For example, for it to work properly, you may also need to understand what kind of arguments it will need to work properly. So taking note of all this falls under understanding the exploit. So now the first thing, remember that we have saved it, right? We have saved it. Now we want to call it out. We want to call it out so that we can study it. So for you to call a file out, a file that you have saved, you use cat. That is the code, the function cat, followed by the name. This was the name of the file. So if you come back tomorrow to your Kali now, where you have saved this what? Exploit that you downloaded, you want to call it out again, you just say cat. Not only this, any file that you have saved, you want to call it out. So now let's quickly go back to, so I'll simply say cat 17 is here. So I've already brought it out, and you can see that it has opened the file. This was those code that we were asking the other time, mommy's boy. These are the code, remember, in the browser. So these are the same code. Now we have opened them up. So whenever you download exploit, you need to what? Save it in a directory, then use the cat function to call it out. Then you go through the code and see if you can understand the information wrapped in there. And then even from there, you know what they are meant for. Like I can see the author, the person that wrote the code, HDM, his first name and his second name, the license, MSF license, the version, the URL, the address, that if I want to get it from a website, then platform where he wrote it is Unix, privilege true, space 2000, bad characters. So that is how you can download an exploit and open it up to understand it. So it's one of those things we are going to be doing as an ethical hacker. Once you sort out exploits from any domain, then you must learn how to open it. So now, launching an exploit now. So let's take note of the steps. The first step was what? We downloaded what? The exploit. And remember I said that exploits could be defined as pieces of what? Code, right? That can be used to take advantage of system vulnerability. So that code that we just downloaded and saved is assumed to be a set of code, scripts that ordinarily you will have sit down and write. You know, like I told her that the one we are considering, if you want to write, if you want to get to the point where you'll be able to write that kind of exploit, that is advanced. But now we're taking advantage of what is available on the public. That's why we went there to download everything down. So which means that there are some individuals that can actually write this code. That's what we are saying. That can sit down and code this code for taking advantage of system what? Vulnerability. But in this case now, we just downloaded from a website where we know that people normally what? This expert upload different exploits that we can go there and download and use it to launch what? An attack as ethical hackers. So now that we understand that, let's look at launching what? Exploit. Once we determine how our exploit works, which is the step we just observed now, understanding your exploit, and that they are not malicious. So this is just like a warning that even as you download this exploit from different domains, be mindful of what? The danger that could be attached to some of them. So that is why you have to open them up and know whether it's that type. So we can finally launch our attack with those exploits. You typically will do this by executing the exploit file from the command line using the appropriate arguments. When you launch the exploit, it will most likely print out text on the screen with updates on the status of the exploit. If all goes well, your exploit will be successful and you will have a shared command line on your host. So I hope you are writing this because this information is also very important. All right, so the Metasploits. The most popular tool for hacking using Kalininos is a program named Metasploits. Metasploits is really a one-stop shop for hacking and makes it extremely easy, even for a beginner, to do everything that we have done so far. So these are different options that are available. So we are just trying to take advantage of different ways of hacking. So it gives you less control and may not cover what as much ground as you can manually what do, but it makes storing information and launching attack much easier. So that is the Metasploit. So the Metasploitable machine is derived from this. So now let's go to Kali and search for exploit automatically using MS F console. So no, that same one. Console. So this is how we are going to use Metasploitable. Now look at the notes I added here. Notes, please use user account, not root. We're running this. Like my own case now, you will observe that I'm on roots. So I have to what? Close this and then come here. Use let me close this. Use Control Alt T. So Control Alternate T is the shortcut to launch a user account instead of going through what? Root. Is the root that normally carry this red color. So now from here, like I've stated here, you simply run what? MS what? Console. So now let's run that. MS F console. So once you run it, you hold on. Take some time. So this is another method of launching attack now. Okay, so you can see, so this is the interface. You can display different shape. I don't know what shape your own is displaying, but at least with this, so the Metasploit has open. Now, in case you want to get the documentation, you can visit this website. There is a URL that is provided in case you want to study more about the Metasploitable. Okay. All right, so now that we have entered that launching environment, let's run help to get the particular domain we want to launch the attack. So just run help.
Okay.
Yes. Run help to see what database nmap. So let me just say help. So once you run this, it's going to display so many information that you need. So the one we are going to use now is this one. This very one. Remember, we talk about nmap now, right? We are going to use this one, which is database, that is db_nmap, execute and record the output automatically. So why we run that help is to get that information. Once we are on this platform, just for you to run help, there are different places you can say, okay, want to target any of this. Okay, so the next thing is, so this is what I've been able to obtain from the result of help. So which means that we want to check db nmap. Please, there should be n in this, not just m. nmap, then followed by the targeted machine. So that is your metasploitable or OWASP. nmap. Yes, underscore db_nmap, then your target machine IP address. Then the verbose, that is VV, small letter, space, hyphen, small letter S, capital letter V, then space, hyphen, defining the range of ports you want to scan. We already know the total number of ports. In this case, we are scanning all the ports.
After the IP address, that has got to be
There's space here, there's space. So have you copied it? Because I want to switch to my,
no.
Because you have to copy before you execute, so that once I switch to my development environment, can I move now? Okay, now remember that at this point, you must have known your target machine IP address. So let's say db_nmap space the machine IP address .168.55.102 as confirmed. Then space VV space S, capital letter V. Yes, SV. Then P, the number of ports, that is the range of ports you want to go through, to 65, 35. So have you executed? What do you get, okay? What do you get?
Can you go back to the slide?
Kind of issue. Have this error that says what? Database what? Not connected. So copy the whole of this code. We are going to use them to troubleshoot it. Sudo service post, because that is the database that is complaining about. PostgreSQL. So let's run that. Sudo service post SQL starts. Now it's asking for password because that means I'm not permitted to run this here. I'm supposed to run this in the root. So meanwhile, if you run that command that say database not connected, if you run this whole code in your root terminal, it will work. Connected, have you? Something. Okay, let me just do my. I wanted to confirm first where you are now. This is where you are, right? So let's go and run the second one as well. The second one is a sudo service. You just to put status, right? Just to add status to the previous one. We just say sudo service posts where SQL status. So want to know, say what? Units could not be found. What do you get your own? What did it show? Read it out. Okay, good. Your own is correct. So which mistake did I? Let me check. Oh, I made mistake. I'm not spelled my sudo service post SQL status. So that's my keyboard then. Sudo service post SQL status. Good. So now the next
Control plus.
To leave here because you can't see your command prompt again, right? So you now say Control plus C to come back to your MSF console. Yes, now to come back to MSF console. Now we want to check the status now, which is a DB what? Underscore status. So let's check the status. Which one? This one? We'll run it now. Okay, good, sorry. So let's quickly run that first. MS what? MSF console. Okay, so we cannot run it. We are already inside. We are already inside. There's no need. So let's go to that what? DV what? Underscore status. Let's go to DV underscore status. Can you see it now? Connected to what? Connection type. So it means that what is there now? DV underscore status. No connection. Check. Same thing. Okay, let me just run this one and see whether there's a code I'll ask you to run, whether it should work there. So I will just do MSF FDB. Init, that is to init space. So let me see, execute this error. So you see it now. That's that what this must be run as what root. So the same thing that we are doing now. Look up. You know, there is a pseudo code that will take us, that can allow to switch from what? One account to another. Do you remember it? To switch from one account to another. If I do SU space -I from the basic Linux, if that did not work, let's do SU, that is sudo hyphen, was it I or that is not even I? Okay, good. Sudo hyphen what? Sudo hyphen I. So now I have switched to root. So if I run that sudo hyphen I here now, it means that what I'm switching back to. So from there, what it's saying is that this particular command we are trying to run must be run in. So let me just do that MSF. Okay, your laptop. No, grab it with your phone now. So which code we are trying to run now that complained there? It must be done on root, which is MS int. Let me check. MS console. So let me start the console so I can run. So let me just run that db underscore status. Okay. Underscore status.
So connected to this, which code we will try to run? MSF. This is what that did not work for you, right? DB init. Good. This is what did not work for you. Then now you remember that we are running the DB underscore nmap target machine that did not work, right? That was one that complained that database is not no, this was what we were running that complained that make us to go and correct, try to fix the problem. The one that complained that I could not find database. So let me run it now that we have rectified all and see what we get. Okay. So DB underscore nmap, the target machine. This is what I'm referring to so that I'll bring you to the same page. Look at it. Something led to this. When we ran this code, we got that what? Database not connected, right? That was what led to, okay, let's see how we can update it. Now that I've updated all those information, I want to run it now. Yeah, but you still run this code. In as much you have switched to roots, run this once you are in your MSF console. You understand? And when you check your DB status, what do you get? If you can see connected there, no connection. Okay, so run this one and let's see if possible that it will connect. This one I'm running now, just write it. Then, okay, let me see what my own will output. So sometimes it might be network. So let me confirm. -S capital letter V port 1 to 65535. So you can see it now. This is what you get. So with this now, we have been able to what to ping some information from this machine. So we are now in Metasploit with target machine now. So all these ports now. So here now you can see so many ports are opened that we can use to launch an attack, because that is what we're actually looking for. You can see that if you scroll up, it's still running. So when you have that database issue, is either you are running it in your user account, because what I did now is that I switched to root account using sudo -i. So if it's not working with one, maybe you switch to the other one. Don't know whether you have switched from both of them.